Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Talking Togs. Today, I have an excellent photographer. I'm really excited to have on the show to chat to. It's Tina Eisen, who,
Hi.
yeah, say hi. So Tina's there, and we're both. I just say we're both in the UK at the moment. But over to Tina to introduce yourself to us.
Hi, Tim. Hi, everyone. Thank you so
Hi.
much for having me.
Oh, it's a
I
pleasure.
am I'm in Milton Keynes at the moment, if anyone from the UK is listening. I'm a beauty and fashion photographer, and I've got a massive passion for editorial things. So if you haven't seen my work, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty out there. So
It's pretty damn cool actually, and we'll. But by the way, everyone, we'll be putting the normal notes in the bottom of the video so everyone can look at your website and stuff and check out what you're up to.
perfect.
You've got a bit of an accent there, Tina. So although you're in Milton Keynes, you're not from Milton Keynes, are you?
No, it's not your typical Milton Keynes accent, is it? Yeah, no, I was born in Germany, just like in the middle of Germany near Frankfurt, and I've lived in the UK for just over 13 years now. So
Oh,
I
crikey!
can't shake the accent, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah. You're kind of an adopted Brit, kind
yeah,
of.
I am, yeah.
Oh,
That's it.
that's super. So tell us a bit more about your, because I should say that I discovered Tina for the first time when I went to a Canon event in London, in Somerset House in Fashion Week, and there were some other photographers, and we were going to shoot some runway stuff. And the person, because you always have like, some boffin, some great and the good to talk to you and get you fired up, etc. And the person we had was Tina, and she gave us a little talk, and I thought, oh, this is a nice person, and you said a little bit about your story and stuff, and that was good. And then I've followed you ever since, and then I saw you again speaking this year at another Canon thing at the photography show in Birmingham.
Yep.
So yeah, so that's kind of how because there's lots of different creatives out there, and you kind of get onto each other's radar gradually, or whatever. So, but you tell us a bit more about your background of photography and your journey, etc.
So, I started probably about 8 years ago, and it just came a little bit out of nowhere. So I didn't study photography or anything. It was just I was stuck in a dead-end job, and I was a little bit bored. So I just picked up a camera and just had a little play, and yeah, it all came from there, pretty much. So I don't do things by half. I have to say that. So I literally only had done it for about a year, and I started approaching bigger clients, and was looking for commercial work, and within a year I had my first client. And obviously now you're a little bit more exposed to real models and real teams, so I started doing tests more, and I figured out that I was into beauty a lot more than into anything else. So I dropped all the random baby shoots and all that sort of stuff, and just
Focused
just
on your niche
pretty much,
that was
yeah.
going good for you.
I figure that, there's a lot of people that are half good at a lot of things, and I just
Right.
wanted to concentrate on the one thing that I was passionate about, which was beauty and fashion, pretty much. So just, put all my focus on that, and that's where I am now.
Oh, no, that's good. It's good. No, there's probably even that in itself is a small lesson because I think yeah, I mean it's good to especially to try new things or try different avenues. But then you find something that you really enthuse about. You're always better at it, aren't you? Than than something you're sort of like half interested in.
Yeah, definitely. I just don't want this to be a job as such. I want to be passionate about it and wake up in the morning and just enjoy what I'm doing. So I just focus
Yeah,
on the things I love, pretty much.
that's good. That's good, and that's kind of so within a year of sort of you were sort of really making quite good inroads into doing it commercially and
Yeah.
into the
Yeah, I was just being a bit cheeky, to be honest, because after a year your portfolio isn't anything to shout about really, but
No.
I was just, fearless and just sent it out to people, and yeah, like people came back to me,
So
which
would
is
you,
a
is it the knocking on doors, emails and stuff like that? Because you do, that's, this is a quite an interesting thing because it's quite, I mean, the one, there's different views, isn't there? The whole photography industry and everything is different to it was in years gone by. There's thousands and thousands of photographers, but on the other hand, which is a lot of competition, if you like, but on the other hand, there's lots of opportunities still.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and with, I mean, maybe we'll chat about social media a bit. I mean, things like that are a platform that wouldn't have existed 20 years ago, but now there's all these things that you think if you want to get into it and push on with it, you can get noticed, can't you? Sort of thing. You can,
definitely, yeah. Like I always say to people, this is a visual industry, so just, show your work off and don't be afraid to use social media. It's not a question of being narcissistic and just raking in likes. It's just getting your work seen.
yeah.
And I book big campaigns solely through Instagram now. So I can
Well, that's
only
a good.
vouch for it.
Yeah, I mean that's a good endorsement to.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, I think that phrase is good about to get your work seen because I think that's it. If it's a visual art, if you're a painter, nobody would think it was odd that you wanted your paintings to be seen, not just put away in a cupboard somewhere.
Yeah,
So it's the same thing. You produce something, you want it out there in the world, and there's bigger, and you can get an enormous audience, can't you? I
yeah,
mean, now.
definitely. We've got the world at our fingertips pretty much, as cheesy as it sounds, so we might as well, spread our wings and get seen worldwide.
But it's putting in a bit of spade work. Then
Hmm.
it's putting in the effort and keeping
Definitely.
keeping
Yeah,
going.
there's a lot of tips and tricks about it, and how to keep people engaged, and you learn what people want to see and what they don't want to see, but it is a little bit of a job. But
Yeah,
it's rewarding, so
yeah. But it's nice when you can get some interaction going as well, isn't it? I mean, it's lovely
yeah.
when somebody looks at something. Sometimes they like something, but sometimes you get a little comment about something, and you think, oh, that's kind of cool. I always like. I mean, I like any positive feedback. I'm a great giver of feedback and positive encouragement because I 100% believe in that. But I do like it myself in return. So it's a buzz, isn't it? And it's
Hmm.
sort of you think,
Definitely.
this is good, and it's interesting because with so many different people on all these different networks, you sort of you think, crikey, I'm talking to such and such. You can find yourself in some sort of online conversation with someone. You're thinking, blimey, that's such and such who I think is amazing. That now
Yeah.
I'm talking to them, and I think that's kind of cool. Really, it's like.
Yeah.
Like you think I would never have a chance of getting access to that person, like if you went back in time. But now, if you're lucky, things can just. I find that fascinating and quite exciting.
It's people are so accessible and approachable, and you can just, as you said, you just have a chat with one of your idols, and
Yeah, no, exactly. And you sort of think, I can't believe I'm just. Yeah. It's cool. It's cool. So earlier on, then, when you were trying to do your sort of breaking through with the commercial clients and that, was it Facebook? Was it emails? Was it a bit of everything? What kind of was your avenue to sort of
so
pushing
I
yourself
think,
forward
I
a bit?
mean, it wasn't stuff like Instagram wasn't quite that big in
No,
like 8 years ago.
no.
So it was all emails. It was just literally sending some emails, and I went for some meetings. I printed my my little portfolio out, and just went on the
So
way. And yeah, like it might not be polished at that point, but people can see potential in you. And that's one thing I always say to people now. If you just tell yourself you're not quite ready yet, you'll never be ready. Just, someone out there will be the right client for you. So just, bug people, get your stuff seen, and someone out there will book you. You're the right person for someone right now. So you might as well not stall and
yeah, that's good.
get
That's good.
busy.
That's good advice as well. Yeah, because that's another thing, isn't it? Because everybody develops their own style. Hopefully, they do. And yeah, we are all influenced, I think, by other people. When I look at this and you look at that and that, but at the end of the day, you kind of you've developed your own road, and and it will be right. You're for somebody, like you just said, which is quite interesting because you kind of we might think, well, maybe I should change everything, all directions, to be a pale imitation of someone else. But that's rubbish because
Yeah.
there's the real things there. So why would someone be interested in it? You might as well just embrace yourself, might you, and your
Yeah,
approach, kind of
exactly.
thing. I think. I mean, that's. Yeah, I think that's what you're saying. That
Yeah.
you that sort of have some self belief, and
Definitely.
that can be a way forward. So I'm
Definitely.
drinking my coffee
I'm,
out of my
I'm still
famous mug.
jealous. You're so well prepared.
Um,
I should have made myself one.
yeah.
Oh
So
well. You're
so
going to be up all night. It's okay.
yeah. so 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 you moved progressed there. How did the Canon connection come into the equation? Because as I said earlier, I kind of sort of first met you, as it were, through one of those Canon type presentation things. So how did that come about? If it's not top
So
secret.
no, not at all. No, it's just basically a story of being at the right place, like at the right time. So
Right, okay, that's fair
Um,
enough.
so one of my inspirations in photography is Laura Jade, which I'm sure we've all
Ah,
heard of. And so I went to
yeah,
one of her workshops in London,
okay,
and she was so Canon was there just supporting her for that workshop, and they had brought
yeah.
some cameras and lenses along, and they were encouraging people to bring their portfolios to do little reviews. And so I
Ah,
met one of the guys from Canon there, and he was impressed
ah,
with what I'd done. So we were in touch ever since. And just a couple of months later, he asked me to present for those experience days that you went to.
yeah,
So it
yeah.
was a bit of a, I feel like it's a bit of a lucky break because that was one of my first talks I had done. And again, it was very early on. I think that must have been like, was it probably 5 years ago or something? So
Right.
just lucky.
Well,
Right?
kind of, yeah. I mean, in the sense, yes and no. In the sense of, yeah, I know what you mean. In that, like, you're in the right place at the right time, and the stars aligned, or however you want to look at it. But I'm sort of subscribed to the belief that if you do nothing, the luck won't even find you. Do you know what I mean by that? If you just kind of like stay in your zone, but the very fact that you went to that workshop and
Hmm.
and do you see what I mean? You kind of moved out from your zone, and I
Yeah.
think if you move out from your zone, you make a connection with someone. Who knows where it might lead?
Hmm.
That's my theory because I think that yes, I kind of feel like you kind of whatever you want to call it, a providence, a lucky break, whatever you could do. We could all do with more of that, but I still think that you've got more chance of that happening if you do something, if you step out in some way or another. Um, that's kind of been my experience, but I kind of want anyone listening. I want 100 more lucky breaks to get where I want to get to. But nevertheless, one thing does seem to lead to another, to another, to another. If you're prepared to kind of keep stepping out, as it were, So yeah, no, that's cool. So that's how you went to a workshop. You
Hmm.
got you got more than you bargained for. You
I
went to do
did. I
this.
did.
You ended up with a great contact,
That's
and
it.
and then which led to presumably other things with Canon and talks and so
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah, I do quite a bit with those guys still. So years on, I'm still doing talks, stage talks. I do workshops with them, and yeah, they're a great bunch.
Oh,
So
that's cool. And because this year for the first time ever, I visited the photography show in Birmingham, which you was talking at.
hmm.
Well, I'd always put off going to that show event, whatever you want to call it, because I'm famously not excited by gear. Not that I don't mind being sponsored by somebody, but I'm not particularly excited by gear. And so I thought the thought of marching around all day with people with huge zoom lenses, I thought, oh, I'd do my head in. But then I realised that there was like good speakers coming to these things, and I thought, do you know what? A friend of mine, we both went, and I said, let's just go. Let's almost ignore the stands. Of course, I had a little look at the stands, but and just listen to the speakers. That'll be worth it just for that, and it was worth it just for that. I absolutely loved. I mean, Canon's setup was brilliant. It was like like
Like a
almost like a
theater,
mini, like a cinema, almost like
yeah.
within the whole thing. It was,
Hmm.
and then with massive, great screen, so you could see all the photographs,
Hmm.
huge. And then the person who shot them was talking about it, and I love things like that. So I was just soaking it up, thinking this is fab. And you was there, and you also had a massive, great picture next to this. I'm going to try and get it on the screen now because I spoke to my friend about this. And I said, "Look at the size of that image." Let's see if we can do this. It'll be a bit of fun. Um, are we? Are you? Are you? Are you? Not yet. Are you saying that
No,
now?
yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
Okay. So that's Tina, everyone, standing next to an enormous photograph. Um,
Yeah.
so, and there's your name even on the side there with your
Hmm.
little.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell us
Um,
about that then. Come, that must have been a thrill.
that was such a thrill. When they sent me it was sort of like a file for proofing,
Mhm.
and they said, "Oh, so this is going to be blown up to like 13 feet or whatever it was," and, and I was like, was that a typo? Did you just say 13 feet?" But they're like, "No, yeah,"
That is
and
so big.
I remember going there on the first day, and I went with my best friend, and she just stopped dead, and I was standing with my back to it, and I turned
Yeah.
around, and I was like just tearing up because I was so
Oh,
proud of this.
of
Like,
course, of course. Honestly, any photographer would have been absolutely delighted. That's so cool. So what kind of camera did you use to take this?
that was still when I had the 5D Mark II, so that was taken probably 1.5, 2 years ago.
Just shows you what you can do in terms
Yeah,
of like, look how big that's expanded to.
yeah, mental, massive, isn't it? They did ask me after if I want to keep it, but I didn't know where to put it, so I just
Oh
passed
yeah,
on that.
because I was going to say, yeah, that would be a cool thing to keep. But on the other hand, you can't put that on your mantelpiece very easily,
Yeah,
can
I
you?
know.
Not unless you live in a castle.
Yeah,
Not many
that's the
castles in
dream.
Milton Keynes, I don't think. But
No,
no, that is no, that was neat. That must have been a real buzz.
definitely. Probably that's probably one of my highlights this year, seeing that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. In a sec, we're going to. I'm going to chat about anything, Tina. It's all up for grabs on these talking togs. But we're gonna look at some of your photographs together, and I'm going
Hmm.
to ask you to just chat us through it. Anything you like about it, about the day, the shoot, what you remember about it. Um, the team, because in fashion and beauty and stuff, it's more than just you and the camera, isn't it?
Definitely. No, no,
So,
that wouldn't
so
work.
right. So let's try and get a picture up. Are we? Yep, we're good. There's a
So,
lady here with a flower.
yes, so this is a little preview for you guys because this editorial is only being released in the next few weeks.
Oh right, okay.
So exclusive. So I've shot this in summer, and we had a team of a hairstylist, a makeup artist, and obviously the model, and myself. So flowers are quite, they're a theme going throughout my portfolio. I just have such a thing for nature.
Okay.
Um, and I try, and sometimes I feel like if I don't have flowers on a shoot, something's missing. Like I did a shoot last night, and I was a little bit like, can we just find a flower somewhere? Because yeah, it's just like withdrawal symptoms. But yeah, so I
Yeah.
do have that a lot because nature is just so beautiful, and
Yeah.
it just the gentleness of that orchid against the skin of that model is just something else. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I was working with a makeup artist called Nikki, which I first met probably 4 or 5 years ago. And she is just known for her dewy skin, and you can really see that in that image. It's just I think the contrast between softness and messiness of the hair is just nice. I just love that
Yeah.
picture
It's lovely.
so much. And yeah, the hair was done by a stylist called Jodie. She's from Bristol, and she is just amazing. The
I
model I
know.
had never worked with, so that was the first time that day.
Ah,
But her name is Chanel, and she was just so lovely.
nice.
I
It's are these real freckles on here?
50-50.
There's some enhanced freckles going on.
Yeah,
Because I
good
just think
question that.
I love freckles. That's what. And I shot like a fashion show earlier in the year, and the look for the designer wanted like all the models all had freckles put on. So that's why, like something strikes a chord in your head and you're thinking, oh, well, I'm looking out for freckles now. I
That
mean,
was good eye.
you know.
Yeah, she's got a couple of her own, like the one close to the lip. That's her own, but we added a
Okay.
few as well. Nikki is really good at those faux freckles because you can make them look
Yeah.
really bad, but
You
she,
can, but these ones, I'm having to ask. I'm asking because I'm thinking that they look real, but I like that because yeah, it's because some things can look too perfect and then it doesn't look right, does it somehow?
yeah, definitely.
Whereas you
Um,
can tell this is still a human being, which is a good
Definitely,
sign.
yeah. I do all of my own retouching as well, so I kind of try and
Ah,
take care of that aspect, what you just said, so it doesn't look too
yeah.
perfect. So
And
it's like you still see like skin texture and stuff like that, and it's not just like a
yeah.
porcelain doll, really. So,
Yeah, no, it's a good style, and and also you kind of you've got some highlights still in the skin
yeah,
retained in it. Yeah, it's good.
yeah.
It's really
Thanks,
good.
thank you.
Yeah, it's really nice. The yeah, she's got very dark hair as well, which is
Yeah,
quite a contrast, isn't it, to
hmm
the
yes.
so. And would this be shot in a studio somewhere, or what? Do you hire
I
studios, or what do you do with this kind of thing?
I've
Because
got
you
yeah, go for it.
no go no that's
Interrupting each other. So no, so I have a little home studio. So if it's just tiny. So I've got all my equipment here, but
yeah
if it's beauty, I can happily just shoot that at home. I
yeah
wouldn't want to shoot full body here, but because I mainly do beauty, it's
yeah
possible. So I don't have to
yeah
hire places. It's a lot
yeah
easier because
yeah
if you have to coordinate the availability of the team and the studio, it's
yes
back and forth.
it's another element in the
Yeah.
mix. No, it is it's I think it's one of the things that fascinates people, as it were, outside of photography, because they look at lots of shots I've done and they'll say mainly like portraits and things, and or three-quarter shots, that sort of thing, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, this is where did you shoot this?" Thinking it was some real, I don't know, swanky studio with an infinity curve or something. Not that
Hmm.
you would need that for, but
Yeah.
that's the vision in their head. And then I say, "Oh, it's shot in the kitchen,"
Yeah.
and it kind of like in one hand it's got like they can't believe it because but then it's just like not smoke and mirrors, but you're creating something, aren't you? And it's all part of
Hmm.
the thing. But I think it entertains people because they have a vision that every shoot must be in
Yeah.
something that a tank could drive into or something, and
Yeah. So
it's not really. You can quickly set up some lighting and a backdrop in a fairly small space, can't you? Especially for
definitely.
this kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the
Uh,
good thing about beauty as well. Like if people want to, venture into it, want to you have a play with beauty, you really don't need the space for it. You could just
uh,
make that happen in your living
uh,
room pretty much.
yeah, and you need to get a feel for lighting
Definitely.
and because yeah, to get things to work the way you want it to.
You do, after a while, you get a feeling for, the face,
Yeah,
bone structure. You kind of figure out where you want shadow and light to be.
yeah,
You learn how to communicate with your makeup artist a lot better because, there's a certain style that you will like. As like, for example, for me, you can see that from those images. I do like it very dewy and sort of like really healthy, glowy looking. And you
yeah,
kind of like learn the language of the other team members a little bit. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
No, that's good. I think that's another important thing, which that comes across a lot in fashion and beauty as well. Is this idea that you're part of a team, and I
Hmm.
think when you're sort of kind of starting out, that's a bit of a revelation because I don't know, you imagine it's all down to you somehow. I mean, it might be down to you to orchestrate the team, but it's very much you've got to bring all the elements together. But it is a team game, isn't it, kind of thing?
Absolutely,
And I think the
absolutely.
quicker you take that on board, the better, really, for all concerned.
Definitely.
But
And yeah, speaking of teams, it's not rocket science to get a team together. Sometimes people
oh,
ask me, how do I get a model? How do I get a makeup
right.
artist? It's really not that hard. Like just if you just send a few emails to agencies, they always have new faces that need pictures taken, and it's
Yeah.
just that simple. And in terms of
Yeah.
makeup artists, just if you start somewhere as easy as Facebook and just ask around and people will do recommendations, it's not that hard.
No, you're right. I mean, there's so again going back to sort of double-edged sword of the modern world that we live in. I mean, but on one of the pluses are because of social media and stuff like that, you can quickly access people that are looking to do stuff, and then after a while you're hit with somebody that that you click with, don't you? And
Yeah.
you that you and you know. Okay, that's cool. So let's move on to another one. See, here we go.
Oh,
We've got the theme again of
we have a
the
flower.
natural. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Talk us
What
through
can I
this
tell
one.
you about this one? So this isn't that old either. It was done a couple of weeks ago. And again, this is a test. So I'm a big believer in just testing,
Yeah,
testing new team members, testing
yeah.
new lighting techniques, new equipment, and I'll never stop doing that. You can learn so much from it. And
Now
so
you've got two highlights in the eye there, which is nice.
I do. So this is lit with a beauty dish and a soft box as a little fill.
Yeah,
You can roughly make out which one's which because there's a larger larger highlight on the top
yeah,
there. And then I had I wouldn't call it a triflector because I kind of sort of made it up. It was
yeah.
just three just like silver reflectors
I
on
know
a
what you mean. I know
yeah.
what you mean. I kind of do
Yeah.
something where I kind of bend. I've got one of those
Yeah.
pop out things, and I kind of play around with that. I can't. It's probably yours is probably bit more advanced than
No,
mine,
no,
but
no.
it's a
I
similar
don't
principle.
have I should have them on the stand, but I don't. I just
Yeah,
literally just rest them on a table and on a chair and just put
yeah,
them wherever I need to.
yeah.
And then she is sitting next to a black flag as well. You can see that, like on that definition on her cheek. Um,
Good.
and I
That's
just try
good.
to keep it quite almost raw. The hair is really messy, just falling out of her jumper.
Yeah, it's good. It's interesting you say about messy hair. You see, that's the kind of thing. Maybe it's not
Mhm.
so bad now, but I can remember going back a few years when I was sort of trying to find my way in certain things. That's the sort of thing that someone I'd be really excited about a picture, and I think, oh, it's really got the essence of the person. Blah, blah, blah. And then I've left some hairs in. I've seen them there, and I thought, oh, I don't want to take them out. It's all part of the thing. And someone will say, oh, that's a very nice picture, but you should have really edited out those stray hairs. This is disgraceful. And I'd think, oh dear, and it just sort of like crashed me now, just as I was feeling really good. But now, I mean, someone says that to me now, say on your bike.
Exactly.
But I'm just saying, to pick, it's something to be aware of. I think these little things, because as you're
Mm.
on a journey, you pick up some helpful things and constructive points, etc., etc. But you sometimes get people lobbing stuff your way, which isn't actually that helpful at all.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's just interesting. And I've actually noticed that kind of look. My wife has a lot of these like little mini fashion magazine things. They're like from the companies, and they keep coming through the door from various designers. And I'm actually I get there first if I can, because you open them up and they're really nice, like they're really on nice paper, and they're only small and thin, but they're really like the shoots in them are really cool. And I'm always looking at. It. And then with the last one, all the hair was really kind of loose in every shot, and I was thinking, oh, look at that. Dodgy hair, but we
Yeah.
like it. I like
We
it.
like it. Honestly, that trend is
Yeah,
I welcome it with open arms because as you said, stray hairs and to retouch those is the
yeah,
end of me. So
yeah. You
I'm
know
all
what,
for
Tina?
messy
The more
hair.
I chat to you, the more I like you. You're so human.
Honestly, but yeah, like I mean, I try and get everything as perfect as possible on set. So in
Yeah,
terms of makeup, and I'm not
yeah.
one of those people that's like, oh, we can fix that in post production. No, definitely not.
No,
So
no. You're
like,
trying to get
if
it
something
right.
can be fixed in 3 seconds, I'm not going to spend 5 minutes retouching that.
I
And
know.
but
I
yeah,
know.
messy hair. I'm
I,
just embracing that right now.
I'll tell you another thing that's interesting about this. only as an aside, but I like it, and it's different to me. Nearly every beauty shot I see, it's sort of like off the shoulder, naked on the shoulders, sort of
Yeah.
thing, and I think the previous shot was as well that we looked at. But this one with the green like high neck, I like
Yeah.
that. But that's different, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like when you see beauty shots, they're always sort of.
Yeah. I was
But
doing a little bit of research and just saw a few images that inspired me, and I figured that this like sort of like high neck turtleneck thing
yeah,
just frames the face just that little bit more because you're not
yeah,
distracted by anything. The focus is solely on the face. There's no top
yeah.
body that you could look at, and it was almost like I kind of like I'm playing with that a little bit at the moment. It's kind of my thing. So
But I like it. I like it. Do you know another thing I like about that? I mean, this is probably just my crazy mind, but the way with the colouring of that, this is
hmm
what there's like to me. There's like it's almost symbolises like the grass, the ground, and then the flowers growing up out of the grass. So there's
yeah,
kind of a nature
that was
sort
not
of.
even intentional, but
No,
that's
sorry, but
that's
that's
good to
that
know.
is it. But do you know what I mean? I think that's like it's not like when someone writes a poem.
hmm
The author of the poem sees X, Y, and Z, but then someone else will say, "Oh, I really love what you did there because it's got this, this, and this." And you think, "Oh, didn't even know." But things, I think art can because everybody comes to it with some preconceived experience in life or whatever, and you bring that to whatever you're looking at, and then even maybe on a subconscious level you sort of join up the dots. But I like that. I mean, so the first thing I did notice that straight away, and I thought, oh, this is an interesting idea. It was just refreshing to have something different. But then, as you say, with that high neck, it really does define the shape of the face and
hmm
everything. But yeah, I'm just thinking with your thing about nature, and we've got it sort of like green is quite a natural. Everyone knows I'm mad, so they won't worry that I'm going off on a crazy one here. But it's all this coffee. That's what I'm blaming it on.
Yeah.
But no, it's that's lovely. That's lovely. That is.
I did a little sort of retouching tutorial about that on Instagram. So this particular image, I just took people through the steps that I would take in terms of beauty retouch. And
Okay.
yeah, I think I need to do that more often because people really appreciate it. Just seeing, what an image has to go through before it's at this stage, and
Hmm.
what the image has to look like to start with to get this result.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I might
mean,
do that a little.
those lips are very, very defined, aren't they, as well? They
Definitely,
really
yeah.
are.
Definitely makeup artist skill.
Very, very good. Very good. Very good. Okay, I'll click for.
Way.
Oh, whoosh! Now I must confess, I have seen this. This is fresh off the press, isn't it? I saw
Yep,
this. You just shared this on social media, didn't
I
you?
did. I did. So this image is not actually even a day old yet.
Now this is
So
fresh content, as they say,
fresh,
and
fresh, but it is one of my favorites now
it's
already.
very, very exciting. When I saw it, I thought, whoosh!
Yeah. So
It's
also I have to mention why this makes me so proud. This is almost straight out of camera. I basically toned this image and that was it. So some people have messaged me and they said, "Oh, how did you do that effect in Photoshop?" No,
yeah.
it looked like that. So yeah, it was a good achievement last
Wow.
night.
Yes, it was. It's and that in-camera effect. What you I mean there's a lot to look at here, which is really cool,
Mhm.
but the impact it makes is immediate, and the it's energy.
Yeah.
It's energy. Now, one of my heroes is a guy called Bruce Smith, and he early on was trying to encourage me to get energy in my shots, and so I'm always conscious of that. Now, that's one thing when I can get a model jumping up and down in a wearing a dress or something, and I will do that if I think if it's going to help make something crazy. But in a beauty shot, to see kind of like a starburst almost of energy is a
hmm
quite yeah, it makes stops you in your tracks. Do you know what I mean? Because you
Yeah.
normally it's normally like such a sedate
hmm
situation.
That's so true. Yeah, actually, it's always quite, static and
Yeah.
It came from, I've got a little bit of an issue with glitter. It's just, for
Yeah,
me, it's just impossible to shoot. It's just, oh, I want to see every grain, but you're blowing it out with flash. So I just had a
yeah,
little play yesterday and just mixed constant light and flash. And so this effect was kind of like a nice little side effect. I had quite slow shutter speed and was moving very slightly to get this effect. And when we looked at the back of the camera at the end of the shoot, we were like, "Oh my God, her soul is leaving her body." It was just
yeah.
such a nice
Oh, it
surprise.
is, it is, it is, it is great. Oh, it's just like instant impact. It's
Yeah,
different, and it's refreshing. I love things that are I love things that are classic and timeless, but I also like things that are just like, "Ooh, that's a bit new," sort of thing. It's a bit fresh, and rather than the trillionth time that something's been done. So I really like that. And like you say, there's with all the glitter, it's almost like I don't know, it's like starburst or something, like
yeah,
like space. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
It's like
Like
a
in the uni
galaxy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but not a bar of chocolate. I like Galaxy. But that's another
Oh, me
story.
too. That's my favorite.
Yeah, Galaxy. If you're listening, Tina likes it. Feel free to
Yay!
send
Just
bars.
we can do a podcast about chocolate.
Yeah, yeah,
Next
yeah.
time.
That's the next time we're gonna have bars. This has been sponsored by.
No beeping.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's really good. So you're excited about this, quite
Thank you
rightly.
so much. I was very proud of it, but yeah, so
Mm,
finally conquered my fear of glitter.
yeah. And
Uh,
was this a makeup artist you've worked with before, or was this a new one to you, or
so
what's the score here?
the makeup artist that did this makeup is called Louise, and she is one of my very best friends, and she
Oh,
lives
that's
in Milton
nice.
Keynes as well. So we work together a lot, and I feel like you can kind of see that in our images that we just gel with each other. We just
Good,
get each other. We just
good.
bounce off each other. When we do tests like last night, we just have fun. We have a laugh, and you can see that in the results, I
You
think. So
can. I agree. Absolutely. Do you know it's magical hearing you saying all these things because I no, I really honestly I think fun and positive energy and stuff like that it makes a huge difference
now,
to
Tim,
to
you can talk to me more often. I like you.
I mean if you love something and you get a good vibe and we're all helping one another, building each other up, we're going to get there. I think if we're trying to flatten out the energy and everything, oh no, it just doesn't happen. But this is like boom, woo. No, this is
Definitely.
great. So that was someone you really get on well with, and she's sort of up for experimenting and doing
Exactly.
stuff like that.
We
So
just we just plan shoots together and
yeah,
bounce ideas off each other. But some days, to be completely honest, we just
yeah,
turn up and just improvise. And it's still,
yeah,
the picture
spontaneous.
before, the one with that orchid with the high neck.
Yes, yes.
That was, oh, it was a lily. Sorry, I don't want to get anything wrong. It was a lily. So this picture was completely spontaneous. We didn't plan anything. We just threw a few ideas in on the day, and we still achieve nice results because we kind of get each other. So
Oh, that's
yeah.
good. But the model was new to you, or was the
The,
one you?
this one or the one
No,
before?
this one we're looking at here. Was this a new
So
new one to you, or had you worked with her previously?
this is actually a friend of mine now. So her name is Jenny, and we work together. Funny enough, exactly to the day, yesterday, 4 years ago, and
Wow.
yeah, 10 shoots later, we kind of lost a little bit of contact because she moved away. She moved to the Emirates, I think. Yeah, I think she moved to Dubai, and so we hadn't shot in a long time. So yesterday was kind of like reunion, and we just you know carried
Ah.
on where we left it off, pretty much.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
I
that's
like it.
again, if you just gel and bounce off
Yeah.
it, just you come up with the best results. And I think that's why testing is so important because you meet these people, you get on with them amazingly, and then you can put them forward for actual client shoots, and you know
Yeah.
that you already got some energy going. And
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Yes. You've built up a little bit of. So you kind of think, yeah, I remember that there was a good vibe there, and it
yeah,
helps moving forward. Yeah,
definitely.
that's cool. Right, we've got another one, I think. I think this is our last one that we're going to look at.
Oh,
So
there's
is
that.
this is this the same? Is
Yeah,
this yeah? This is the
The one from the poster. Yeah.
But we've got a different. They've put it onto a black background, or you've put it
They
onto.
did, yeah. No, they did.
Oh,
I
they
gave
did
them that, and they just made it
onto a black
Canon
back.
black. Yeah.
Canon black, right?
So this
Okay.
was original.
So, oh, hang on. So she's got something interesting going on her fingers. I never noticed that till just
Yeah,
now.
some little strings. So this
Ah,
was an editorial. So this is one
right,
picture out of I think it was 8, 9, 10 pictures.
right.
And so there was a bit of a theme going with this string. And this day I was working with a makeup artist and with this model that I had not worked with before. So
Oh,
it was kind of
okay.
like sometimes I get really proud when I just, meet new people and you just instantly click and you come up with the
Yeah,
most amazing ideas. And this makeup artist just contacted me a few weeks before and we came up with this concept together. And when it came together on the day, I was just so thrilled. And what I really like about this image,
yeah.
which might not be apparent to most people, but
Okay.
it's sort of like it kind of gives me a little bit of anxiety seeing that wispy hair fly into that glossy eyelid. So
Ah,
I feel like the contrast of that dewiness, and you blatantly know that that hair is going to get stuck on there in a second. It's just, there's a little bit of energy going that I like. So we did something that wasn't quite as typical because if you see these images with these like dewy eyelids, and
yeah.
you wouldn't really see flying hair like in combination with that
No,
because it gets messy.
okay. Yeah, so the kind of not messy is not quite the word. It kind of is messy, but there's like almost like waves that because there's a curl in this hair, isn't there, as
Yeah.
well? So there's kind of like um I don't know. There's like a flow. I can't explain
Hmm.
it. There's a flow moving, like with water flowing along. There is an energy because of that. So that's
Definitely. Yeah, so I think this one was one of my favorites this year, and obviously it got picked up by Canon, so that was sort of that proved my my
well, yeah.
point.
That really would confirm it when you've had it the size of a small house. Yeah, that is just quite magical.
Yeah, it
Uh,
was a really good day. It was just, people having fun, and we there was a hairstylist as well. Again, it was Jodie, the girl that I mentioned earlier. I work with her quite regularly because she's just magic. And but so again, like the model and the makeup artist I hadn't met, and we were just chatting along all day. And about 2 hours into this, um, we suddenly figured out that we're all three German, which we hadn't
oh.
figured out despite despite our accent. We were like, how was that not apparent? But yeah, here we go. But
So did you chat in German for the rest of the day?
no, I've got a massive thing with that. I refuse to. I think I function a lot better in English.
Oh, how
Like
fascinating.
I was abroad last week, and there was a new friend that I made, and he was German as well, and we just wouldn't really like. I can't. I kind of like I stopped doing
Oh,
it.
and yeah, oh well, it's worked in the sense of your English is obviously fluent, and
Yay!
so that's so that's cool. That's cool. So that's the end of our little reviews of images, but we can let me just um, as it were lose that for a sec, and then we can just carry on having a little natter. That's cool. That was great. Thanks for chatting us through those. They're really nice, really cool pictures. What's the Hang on, keep talking to me. I think you may have gone quiet. Let's make sure I haven't lost you.
Can you
Ah,
can you hear
yeah, I can
me?
hear you fine now. Really, fine. That's
Good.
cool. All good. Yeah. What I was going to say to you is that kind of thing. Is there quite a lot of commercial interest in the sort of beauty on that side of it? Because obviously, I'm sort of familiar with different things and clothes and this, that, and the other, but I'm not so. How does that world work? Is there enough? Is it selling like the eye makeup and stuff? Is it
Yeah.
what's the story there?
So, in terms of fashion and beauty, up to now, my
Yeah,
commercial work was mainly fashion because obviously,
yeah.
that's everywhere online, everywhere, like in catalogs and whatnot.
New
So,
clothes lines coming out,
exactly, yeah.
e-commerce and this, that, and the other. Yeah.
So I continue to do beauty on the side more for, publications or,
Oh, okay.
agencies. But now at the minute, it is, I'm shifting a little bit. So now I'm starting to shoot campaigns for makeup companies
Oh,
and all that
good.
sort of stuff. So
So
yeah,
that's
it's
so that's it. So no, again, that's really interesting because lots of people say this to me, and I agree with them, and I agree with them myself in this. The idea of you do whatever you have to do, etc., 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 and you want to do, but also you have projects and you do stuff like you were saying, testing and this, that, and the other, and get publications and so forth and so forth, and it could be that that's where you push for to the two things combine, the commercial aspect collides with your personal bits and pieces. I mean, it's
yeah,
not going to do harm, is it? Commercial clients are going to see all this
yeah.
stuff you're doing. It's great, isn't it?
Definitely. Just, like I just keep working on what I enjoy. So beauty shoots are what I'm passionate about. So
Great.
eventually people will see that, they will discover it, they will book you for that kind of work. And
Mm.
ultimately that is what I want to do. So I want to
So
phase out the commercial fashion a little bit and and concentrate on the makeup campaigns for now.
yeah, that's actually nice because I was going to say to you. Obviously, it sounds like you've had a good year, one way and another, with the different of things like that Canon event and
Hmm.
various other things that you've done. But also, so next year, have you got any kind of? So that is your main goal to
Yeah, I would
shift the
say so.
direction direction, not in terms of commercial work,
Hmm.
more into the beauty cosmetics and things.
Yeah. So I would just want to do, I'm going to do a few more campaigns this year. So in a couple of days, and then I'm just going to start contacting more of those clients rather than,
Yeah,
commercial fashion. And yeah, I want to really concentrate on that next year and also do more workshops. As I said, people ask me how I've achieved certain setups,
yeah.
certain images. So because people are asking, I'm now coming to the conclusion that I do just need to, do tutorials and workshops, and I would love to anyway. Like this,
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I love
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah, no, but that's good because I mean, if you've got like someone, you've got nice people skills, and that's cool. If you're on a workshop, you want somebody that is sort of likable and approachable, don't you? To sort of like telling you stuff. It's really that's good. So you'll be doing more of that, and are you going to be doing more talking events and things?
Yes. So I am at the photography show every day again next year. I've got 5 talks confirmed so far. So
Are you
please.
gonna? Are they going to do that Canon thing, that
I'm,
theatre thing? Like
they are
the,
doing it, but I'm not talking for Canon next year. It's just they try and mix it up from year to
oh,
year.
okay.
But I am going to be on the live stage, and I'm also going to talk for Pro Photo this time.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'm still loyal to Canon, but they're just trying to, like give people
Oh, different
different
people a
features. Yeah,
chance to, yeah, okay,
exactly.
cool. Oh, that'd be
So
good. I think I ought to go again because I really did. I'll have to try and work out. You'll have to give us the heads up of where you are and what you're doing because that'd be cool.
definitely come see me. I'm going to do some little demonstrations this time as well on beauty lighting setups, and yeah, I think that might be quite interesting. So come see me.
Yeah. No, that would be. So 2018 is going to be good by the sound of
Hope
it.
so. Fingers crossed. No, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
ready for it. I'm kind of done with 17 now. Bring on 18.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Have you got any final thoughts you want to share with us? Any little hints, tips, encouragements, or otherwise? Anything?
Oh, that's the hardest question you asked
Oh
me.
no! I've been asking you nice specific. Leaving it. Don't panic it. But
No, no.
it's just.
Well, it's probably what I always say at the end of talks. If you guys, don't be shy. If you come up with
Mm,
any questions during this little interview that you want to
yeah.
ask, you can always get in touch. I'm very approachable. I answer pretty much anything. So yeah, like that is my advice.
But that
Get in
no,
touch.
I tell you what, that's excellent. That's excellent advice. That's really kind of you and really helpful. And I think I'll say this: the people such as yourself who are talented and commercially successful, I find are more giving of their time and it's the people that kind of think they're it but aren't. They're the more closed down ones. The really people that really are on top of their game. They tend to be more open and encouraging. So I think that's great, Tina. I think that's really really cool. So Well, as I say, we'll definitely put in the notes underneath this. I'll make sure I've got your web address and all that kind of stuff.
Thank you.
And thank you. I think I'm gonna let you go and say thank you very much for your time. It's been
You're very
absolute joy. It's
welcome.
going like time's whizzed along. I knew it would.
Oh,
You think
that went so quick. That went super quick, honestly. It was so much fun.
so I shall wave bye bye and say thank you very much, Tina Eisen. You're a super tog.
Thank you
Cheers.
for having
Okay,
me.
bye.
Bye.